If you told me that Edmund Blackadder and Basil Fawlty were going to save the world from the woke mob, I don't think I would have believed you 5 years ago. That's not the case today. Hello everyone, I am still Mecha42, still the one, still the only, still the original, still your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy, and...
Please like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, keep your comments to yourself.
No, because the negative comments are still interaction. Just don't make them personal attacks or anything like that, and then YouTube won't lose them. YouTube loses a lot of the comments. Comment anyway, because YouTube loses them, and hit the button, and that's all interaction, and that all counts and matters. And you know what? So does offensive material. It matters. We need it. Why do we need it? Because then we can understand the context. Then we can understand where it comes from. Then we can make up our own minds. Then we can be a little more desensitized to it, so that every little thing, regardless of the context, isn't something for the ring masses to complain about.
What do you want? When do you want it?
Sheepies are so cute. Don't be sheepies though, because guess what? Sheepies are not people, and people should be a little bit better than sheepies. I think people should be a little smarter than sheepies. We must be allowed to insult. So this comes from, I guess, Darren Grimes. I don't know anything about him, but I liked what Rowan Atkinson has to say. I'm a huge Blackadder fan. I love Mr. Bean. I have always thought that people like Rowan Atkinson and John Cleese and the British comedians that I idolized my whole entire life, I idolized them because they were so much smarter than me, and so much smarter than anything I was seeing on television at the time. I have no idea where I was going with this, but yeah, I love the fact that these comedians are speaking out against this nonsense. These comedians are speaking about the woke, offensive garbage where everybody just wants to censor and quiet and silence absolutely everything. And you know what? You don't have to watch offensive material if you choose not to. You have the freedom of choice for now. You can do whatever you can in your power to remove that from your timelines, from your influence. You can live in the bubble, and you're free to do that. And you know what? We're happy for you if you want to do that. But when we get this sort of mindset of people who want to come in and control everything, that's what I have a problem with. This mindset of people who don't understand context, and I'm supposed to just allow them to tell me what I can and can't watch, and what I can and can't say, and what I can and can't be offended by. I wouldn't trust those people to change a tire on my car. I wouldn't trust those people to get my order right at McDonald's. You know why? Because I don't have as much respect for those people as I do somebody who has proven time and time again that they are so much more intelligent, so much more interesting, so much more well-educated, so much more, somebody who has so much more common sense and reason and logic and the ability to think critically and understand context and what they're talking about. I'm trying not to yell. I'm trying not to get worked up into a tizzy. Here we go.
The reasonable and well-intentioned ambition to contain obnoxious elements in society has created a society of an extraordinarily authoritarian and controlling nature.
Yes, and I don't want to be controlled by people who can't even figure out how to adult, because adulting's hard. I don't want to be controlled by those people. I don't want to deal with those people on a daily basis. I don't want to deal with those people in my timeline, let alone do I want them controlling the world in the future. Do we want these people controlling the future? Do we really want these people having a say in what we can and can't watch and do? Chaos Ahoy says SJWs can't take over a bowl of Jell-O. Right? Beavis and Butthead did a better job growing corn than the mob, right? Than the mob in their little society where they're trying to grow whatever on top of an inch of topsoil on cardboard. Beavis and Butthead did a better job, and Beavis and Butthead are Beavis and Butthead.
Damn, we're smooth.
Rachel Lutic, 99 cents, super chat. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. What else does Rowan have to say? Oh, Please bring back Mr. Bean. There were rumors, not Mr. Bean, Blackadder. Please bring back Blackadder. I was hearing rumors last year, and I've done videos on it. I'll try and pop it up here. That they were supposedly talking about having a new series of Blackadder in the works, where Blackadder was going to be a university professor. And if we have any need for it right now, like right now is absolutely the time. If there's any time to bring back Blackadder, and they don't have to go through the BBC now, do they? They can crowdfund this thing. There are plenty of us fans who would donate a lot of money to get a good run of Blackadder coming back to correct the woke mob, to go in and decide, hey, you guys, you do know that the very thing you think you're fighting against is exactly what you are. Oh, here we go. There's more of this. Oh, this is why I have hope for a new Blackadder series. Tony Robinson, Baldrick wants a new Blackadder series. This is why I have hope that just for a split second, if we can get this, and we can get this sort of independent, and we can get the right script and the right message across, we can get something that's going to turn out a lot more like Rowan Atkinson says.
That is what you might call the new intolerance. A new but intense desire to gag uncomfortable voices of dissent.
Yes!
I am not intolerant, say many people. Say many softly spoken, highly educated, liberal-minded people.
That's the problem, though. They're always, oh, we hate isms, we hate racism, and sexism, and what do? Oh, you're just an old white dude.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him.
I just see people.
Shut up, Bree. Button in. She's Bree-bombing again. She keeps Bree-bombing us. That's the problem. That's the problem. And you know what, Bree? Blackadder wasn't made for you. Intellectuals were not made for you. And I know Rowan Atkinson isn't Blackadder himself. But we do know how much input he had. Didn't he write those? Tell me in chat. Didn't he write those? Because my DVDs are in the other room. I moved them out. I'm under the impression that he wrote those. You guys can correct me in chat if you're not. People.
I'm only intolerant of intolerance. And people tend to nod sagely and say, oh yes, wise words, wise words. And yet if you think about this supposedly inarguable statement for longer than 5 seconds, you realize that all it is advocating is the replacement of one kind of intolerance with another.
Yes. 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 This is exactly what I've been saying. You cannot fight racism with racism. You cannot fight prejudice with prejudice. What is wrong with society? What is wrong with people? Oh. Richard Curtis wrote. Okay, Richard Curtis and Ben Elton wrote. Mr. Bean wasn't made for Brie either. His stand-up's amazing. Which one? Tony Robinson or Rowan Atkinson here? Blackadder was written by Richard Curtis and Rowan Atkinson. And if we have any new Blackadder, you can guarantee that Rowan Atkinson is going to have some sort of creative input and decision making. He's not just going to show up and recite lines. This is a man with extreme intelligence who is extremely good at his craft, somebody who is extremely bright, and I cannot kiss this man's butt enough. I really, really can't. Theropod Hunter, £5 super chat. At last a king who looks the part. At last a queen who looks naked. Between Rowan Atkinson and John Cleese and Ricky Gervais even and Dave Chappelle and all of these great brilliant minds, there is some hope, because what happens? You get so sad and so worn down and you get so miserable that the world is just going to collapse and crumble around us. And then you're reminded that no, there are smart people out there. They just don't flap their gums on social media all the time. They're not out there, ringing, and they're out there creating cleverly crafted statements and speeches that make such an amazing impact. And the problem is not enough people are going to see this. Not enough people are going to go in and understand this, because the very people who need to understand this are the very people who won't understand this. These are the very people who will block anybody who they feel is opposed to them, because they feel they're less than and beneath them. And what do? They have to go around feeling so superior to everyone that they think that nobody can speak for themselves. No one can think for themselves. Nobody can have a difference of opinion. That they can't be wrong. these ideological, they're pretty much religious zealots at this point. And you know what, here's the thing, everybody's so bent on getting representation in film and television. You know what I want? I want more Mr. Bean. I want more Faulty Towers. I want more intelligently written things. Where's my representation of people with higher IQs than everybody else that can go around telling everybody what for in a manner? Like, that's what I strive to be. I strive to be as calm and collected and intellectual as these people. And I'm not anywhere near it. But I'm trying to work on it.
The best way to increase society's resistance to insulting or offensive speech is to allow a lot more of it. As with childhood diseases, you can better resist those germs to which you have been exposed. We need to build our immunity to taking offense so that we can deal with the issues that perfectly justified criticism can raise.
Everything can be offensive to somebody at some point. We really, really have to come to a common understanding of, okay, yes, this is offensive. What harm does this actually do other than just trigger somebody? What harm, like what actual harm does this do? How do we go about fixing this in a way that doesn't silence everybody? How do we go about this in a way that doesn't turn authoritarian? How do we go about fixing this in a way that doesn't just mean silencing and censoring and forgetting what happened? This is what happens when people don't want to hear and learn about World War II because it's sad. I'm sad by it too, and you're supposed to be, because it was horrific and it was terrible. There's a reason why. And I'm offended by it. And I do not want to not learn about it, because I really, really think that we need to understand where we've been to know where we're going. We need to understand our past and our history, and rewriting and erasing and ignoring so much of this is not going to solve anything. We're just going to have a bunch of water-brained people running around, not understanding anything, not understanding context, not understanding even why they're supposed to be offended by something. That's the point that I really, really want to stress here. They don't even understand why they're supposed to be offended. They just go just because. And having a dialogue on why something's offensive is way more important, I think, than just silencing it. Because look at something like Little Britain. There's plenty of stuff that's offensive there. Do I want it banned? No. I want to be able to decide for myself, like a grown adult human person, why something is offensive and why it's not. And by understanding why something's offensive and what's offensive about it, we can slowly change and progress into society to where we're a little bit more understanding of everybody, because everybody's going to have differences of opinion. Absolutely, everybody is. And I'm still working on it, because I definitely have I got some prejudice against some of the SJW mobs. I definitely do. I can see that for sure. I understand that about myself. And I'm trying to listen a little bit more what they have to say. And I'm trying to listen to more what the other side has to say. And that is something that a lot of people don't do. A lot of people won't. Do.
Our priority should be to deal with the message, not the messenger.
Yes! Oh, yes! They go around wanting to cancel every comedian who not understanding what the context and what the intent was and what they were trying to say. No, I'm not condoning it, but I certainly don't want to ban it because I'm offended by it. Because you know what? What if my opinion isn't correct? What if, I know, shocker, I know me. What if my opinion isn't correct and it's actually not offensive? Well, then what? Who let me decide to run the world, right? Even though I probably do a much better job at it than a lot of people. Nikki D, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Keep it up. It's the little pear guy lifting the... Thank you so much for the super sticker. I don't know if the super stickers pop up here, but they might. That's exactly what they do. They will get mad at anybody who is on their side, who doesn't agree with them 100%, if you just kind of question or if you ask. Because what happens? See, I don't like dropping this all the time because I don't think it's really relevant. But with something like Star Trek, for example, they really want to cater to the diversity quota, right? They want to cater to, we want this representation and we want this audience and this fan base. And guess what? I am kind of part of that audience. I am part of what they would consider, hey, well, we have this and this and this checkbox. And I hit a few of them, right? I hit a few of their checkboxes. But that's not good enough, because in their eyes, I am the enemy. I am against everything because I question, because I might disagree with one or two things, because I can see characters that are only being used as tokens. They're only being used to check a quota, to check a little checkbox on their giant game of Wokemon that they always love to play, even though they don't really have any idea that that's what they're doing.
Wokemon.
They don't understand that they're just collecting representation. They're collecting diversity. They're collecting woke points just to prove how virtuous they are to everybody. And you don't have to do that. It was Star Trek, wasn't it? Star Trek was already that. Back to what Mr. Bean said here. Oh.
A month or so ago, laudable efforts to restrict speech can become a tool to silence critics or oppress minorities.
Oh, censorship will be a tool to silence critics and actually oppress minorities. You don't have to have like a 25-year-old white chick going around and speaking on behalf of everybody, because that just convinces me anyway that you feel superior to everybody. You feel yourself superior. Oh, that's what happens. Yep.
The strongest weapon against hateful speech is not repression, it is more speech. And that's the essence of my thesis, more speech.
More speech. And he's not saying just make everything offensive all the time. It's opening a dialogue. It's understanding why somebody said something and where they're coming from and what point of view they have. Because if somebody says something that's like a stereotype, for example, right? If they refer to somebody in sort of a stereotypical manner, you can talk to them and ask them why they think that way. But no. What happens is you have this mentality of people who just want to silence anybody who they find offensive, right? Anybody who they find. And now for somebody like me, I will ban people from my chat if they're constantly trolling, trying to argue, because that's not like why I'm here, right? And when I say try to argue, what happens? And I'm going to use Star Trek as an example here. When people come in and they want to try and argue, they want to argue semantics just to discredit you, to silence you. Just to say you misspoke one time, therefore nothing you say is valid at all. Therefore nothing you say has any credibility. This is why I don't debate things like Star Trek, especially with these new Trek fans, because their whole goal of debating, their whole goal of having a conversation is just to discredit you, just to disprove you by, like for example, if I say Star Trek is kind of a militaristic sort of thing, then they want to come in and counter the one point of view that I might have, or one detail that I might get incorrect, or one little thing that I might misspeak on. And they do that just to silence me. They do that just to discredit anything I say. They do that just to discredit my entire point of view. And that's the problem. And that's the problem with modern day debate, is that they are not people who actually care about the issues. They're only out to silence anybody who doesn't 100% follow and conform and recite back the narrative and the message. And that is my problem. And that's why I don't debate Star Trek. You need the dialogue. You need people who aren't just out there, whose sole purpose is to shut you up, whose sole purpose is to take away your power, whose sole purpose is to put you down, silence you, discredit you, disprove you, cancel you. Cancel you. This is why.
If we want a robust society, we need more robust dialogue, and that must include the right to insult or to offend.
Yes! I love Rowan Atkinson. I absolutely love Rowan Atkinson. So that's what Rowan Atkinson had to say. I'm going to have a time editing that down because of the super chat bug and glitch. But man, yes, this is exactly the type of people we need actually running the world. This is the type of people we need to find to put in charge of things. These are the people that we need to idolize and admire, not your mindless, brainless, idiot celebrities who are just out there telling us what to do and how Islamophobic we are.
Drop the taco. Get in the car.
We need a return to intellectualism. We need to stop allowing the lowest common denominator of people to have the say and the power to silence absolutely everybody. We need to stop this, because what happens? They ruin everything. They ruin the industries. Comic books are gone. Movies are dead. TV isn't very good anymore. What happened when people who, had a brain were making things? Oh, we had stuff like Faulty Towers. We had stuff like Blackadder. We had Monty Python. We had Star Trek. And whatever you call this.
I like science.
No, we need Star Trek to be returned to intellectualism. We need entertainment to stop trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. Stop trying to appeal to the brainless, mindless masses for absolutely everything, because there's a time and a place for that, but not everything needs to be that. You still need an escape from that. You still need some sanity, some normalcy, and something reasonable to watch from time to time. I am going back to my live chat. This has been quite the rant, and this was the most important speech I think I've seen in a long time. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't go anywhere.